Next up, we've talked on the show before about how important it is to have a succession plan in place for your farm. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is raising the issue of how prepared many of us really are. I spoke with Nebraska Extension Farm Succession Educator Allan Vyhnalek about some ways to plan for the future during these unprecedented times.
I don't have any direct evidence, but I do know from talking to providers that my anecdotal evidence says that there are more people interested in getting their estate plan put it together, especially younger couples that are looking at what happens if I end up in a hospital on a ventilator and who's going to take care of those decisions that I have to make. In other words, some of the legal things that would have to be done for decisions that you have to make if you end up really sick. And so people of all ages are looking at this a little more. I'm hearing from lawyers that especially that say, yeah, we've had more increase in foot traffic because people want to get some of those papers in order because of the pandemic.
Coronavirus has definitely been changing our lives in many ways. Does it have to be that way for estate planning, though?
I don't know that estate planning has to be more complicated because of the coronavirus. I think that what people have to understand is that they need to think about what they have and what they want to have done to it. I think that all the coronavirus did is make it more real, meaning you better pay attention because it could be that next tractor accident, it could be the next heart attack, it could be the next brain aneurysm. It just happens to be a pandemic. All those things can cause the demise of anyone at any particular point in time. So I think we just have to think about what our plans are, what do we have, and what are we going to do with it if we're gone. I mean, those are the things we have to keep in mind. And then let the lawyers deal with the complexity of the rest of it, all the tools. The lawyer apply the tool to your plan to get a good plan in place.
Okay, Allan, say I'm a producer and you are an estate planning attorney. Set the scene for us. What are some of the first things that you'd need from me as part of that estate planning conversation?
The best thing the producers can do before they go see an estate planning attorney, if they're going to put together an estate plan or haven't done one yet, is to stop and make what I would call a good balance sheet. And what I mean by that is a balance sheet, a very robust balance sheet. What I mean by that is you have an inventory of all your land, an inventory of all your other assets, including machinery, inventory of all your livestock. And you have, for this inventory, you have to include numbers and values. You have to have an inventory of all your personal belongings. You have to have an inventory of all your vehicles. And you need to have an inventory of your family. They'll want to know who's related to you and what their ages are and those kind of things. You'll have to have an inventory of all your non-farm assets that you might have. What life insurance policies do you have? What term life insurance policies have? What investments do you have? Do you have annuities? Do you have trusts? Do you have any of those things, any of those papers that you have of where you're at right now? They need a good snapshot of where you're at right now. And if you would put all that together before you see a lawyer, and that's going to take some time, but do it right, that saves you time with a lawyer. I've just saved you hundreds of dollars. Because if you just go to a lawyer and say, hey, I need an estate plan, they'll go, great, I'll help you. What do you have? Oh, I got this quarter over here. Oh, hey, so where's that at? And you give them a description. Oh, and how much is that worth? And they write that down. And all the time you're talking to the lawyer and he's making this inventory for you, he'll do it, but it's costing you between $200 and $400 an hour. So if you would just get all that done first, that would help a lot. The second thing you can do is that you and your wife or whoever you're in business partnership with has to kind of, if you come up with a plan of, hey, in utopia, this is what we'd like to have happen to our stuff when we're gone. Just come up with that plan. Here's what we want to happen to our stuff. Then if you have that kind of laid out, those two things alone can save you several hours in a lawyer's office and can speed up the process by quite a bit. And so that's what I would suggest to have done first.
And finally, let's talk about a webinar that you're going to be a part of on August 5th, Ag Estate Planning During a Pandemic. That's the webinar. What are some of the topics that you'll be covering?
So, yeah, we're cooperating with Monty Schatz up at Vanderdick and Weaver in Omaha. They've asked me to cooperate with them, so I said, sure, why not? We'll do it. And we're going to be talking about some of the family dynamics that can go into that, and we'll be also talking about some of the lessons I've learned doing this job for several years now. Here's some of the lessons I've learned from families. The lawyer part of the talk will be to talk about having some of these things in place, like your living will, your healthcare power of attorney, your healthcare directive. We're looking forward to people coming out, and you register for that at farm.unl.edu.